What's up, y'all? It's me, Erica. We are down here. Today is Thursday. I feel like today is Thursday. So we are down here to just talk about nothing. I haven't watched much. I've been actually like watching a bunch of stuff on Nexium because I love, I don't know if you know a little bit about me, but I love watching things on cults. I love watching things on serial killers because of just the way the behavior and how people wind up in cults and how people wind up in groups that participate in like a cult-like type of vibe. I find it very interesting how that happens, and I love to watch how the people related to their quote-unquote leader. So I've been watching different clips on YouTube about Nexium, and that's what I've been really watching, mostly stuff like that. I have been watching a little bit of, some blogs and stuff like that, but I haven't watched anything. I watched a little bit of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion last night. I didn't watch the whole thing. I just mostly saw the part with Lisa and Denise and them like talking about their friendship and, what they're going to do about their friendship. And that whole thing was really weird to watch. I guess Denise has quit. I think there's rumors that Lisa Rinna is coming back and Garcelle is coming back. I think they should get rid of Kyle. I really do. I don't know. Kyle I don't know, really, like, whether we like to admit it or not, there is really one or two women in each franchise that really are very popular, right? So, like, let's just say Atlanta, right? So we know that Kenya and Nene, whether you like them or not, Kenya and Nene are the stars of the show, right? They are the ones with the draw. I'm just, I know who y'all might like a certain person. Cynthia is not the draw. Candy Show ain't the draw. Portia's not the draw, although a lot of people like her, but Portia could not hold that cast by herself. Do you understand what I'm saying? But Nene and Kenya, right? Potomac, whether we like it or not, it's Karen and Giselle. It really is. It's Karen and Giselle. They've been fighting for that spot since season 1. Nobody else can hold it. I noticed that when I was watching it this past weekend. Robin and Wendy sitting together talking with Monique looked awkward as hell. I was like, they don't even look like friends, like they would ever be friends. And then when we saw them sitting in the it was another Candace, Giselle, and what's the other one's name? Stewie. They don't look like, honey, Candace can't hold the show. She can't. Ashley definitely can't hold the show. We are tired. Ashley Darby. Ashley, listen, I don't think anybody's shocked by Michael cheating on you over in every season. That's your storyline. We're done with that. Y'all gonna have to come with something next season. Y'all really are gonna have to come with something next season. You're gonna be pregnant again, and what is Michael gonna be doing, right? That's every season. We're worried about what Michael's doing. Now that we know that, I think everybody was kind of on the fence on whether you knew about his behavior or not, but the fact is, about it, you're okay with it. There's nothing to be shocked about. Nobody is shocked. Nobody cares. I think a lot of people cared at first because they thought you didn't know and you were in denial, but we know that you know. So you're gonna have to come with a new storyline next season. In New Jersey, we know that it's Teresa. And who is the other person? Margaret. I think Margaret brings, no, not Teresa and Margaret. I don't think Margaret couldn't, I don't know. I think Margaret could hold her own with the show, but the central character is Teresa and her sister Melissa. Now, our sister-in-law Melissa. Before that, Danielle was more of a shit stirrer. I don't think she can hold the show on her own. She has to be into it with everybody. Orange County. I don't know what they're going to do about Orange County. So who's on Orange County? Tamara and Vicky are gone. So you got you got Shannon. Shannon Bedore can hold her own with the lawyer, the one whose face is always like this. What's her name? I can't think of her name right now. And then they got the new young girl. Leah, we heard that Leah is holding out. Honey, Leah came through first season as a housewife, and people were loving her energy, loving what she brought to the group. What was I going to say? Leah is holding out. They gave her an offer. Bravo gave her an offer, and she was like, no. Y'all gonna have to pay me more than this, because I really brought the girls in this season. I really did. And so she's holding out. I hope she gets what she wants. And if this white woman is holding out for some more money, you know what that's gonna do, because I don't know what's going on with Nene. I don't understand how she can come in the middle of the season, decide she wants to negotiate her contract now, and then come in the middle of the season. I don't know. I feel like Bravo kind of holds on to Nene because they kind of feel sorry for her. I wouldn't even allow her to be in contract negotiations this long. I would not allow it. I would not allow it. You're not going to be able to be in contract negotiations for that long, girl. They are looking for cigarette butts. They are looking for cigarette butts. This dude just picked up a cigarette butt, and then he threw it. I guess it wasn't a good one. Who else? So you got Orange County, Atlanta, Potomac, New Jersey, New York. Who is the central character in New York? Dorinda. I can't believe Dorinda's gone. I think Dorinda could have held her own. Dorinda left. Ramona is a central character, right? Luann is a central character. And I believe that Dorinda was a central character. Leah coming back, I think that's going to be good. Luann is always, Luann's going to have to come with the storyline. We're going to be honest. Beverly Hills and New York, y'all didn't do good this season. I don't think that y'all did very well. I think it was boring. A lot of people stopped reviewing it. A lot of people were just not interested in talking about it as much. I feel like your ratings went down. I heard word on the street Tamar's ratings were not that good. I think she had less than 500,000 people watching. I don't know if people are going to want to watch that. I'm not sure. I think that people are now like, if you're going to use and create this drama around the promotion of your show, like you're promoting a show, you have a new show going on, now all of a sudden you're in the news for this toxic relationship that you're in. I think people are tired of feeling like they've been duped, or feeling like their emotions are being manipulated just so they can tune in and watch your reality show, docu-series, or whatever. From my understanding with Tamar, I think that's a docu-series, but I think people are tired of that. Let's create some drama, and then, you got an album coming out, or, you have a television show coming out, or, you have some clothing line coming out, or some shit. I think people are really tired of that. I really do. I think, they don't want to see it anymore. Who else? What other franchise? Salt Lake City is coming up. I am going to watch Salt Lake City. I'm interested in the black woman who married her step-grandfather to keep the generational wealth intact. A lot of people have a problem with it. It's outside of what you have been taught. It should be traditions. I don't think we see that a lot in black families, where people are marrying into the family in order to maintain generational wealth. I don't think we see that a lot. If we don't see it, it might happen more often than we know. We just don't see it a lot because society hasn't accepted that to be okay as a way to keep generational wealth. And unfortunately, black people don't have a generational wealth conversation too often to actually see that happening. So I think that's really interesting. All of them seem to have really interesting interesting storylines. We have the one woman who is converting to Islam. That should be interesting because I have a story about that. I have a story about that. And you have the woman who married her step grandfather. When you hear about all the things that they own, I don't see anything wrong with it. Now, if this is the only thing that I think is weird is if you're procreating with the person, right? I think that's kind of strange because of the relationship. You're my step grandfather. Now I'm having sex with you to have children. That's weird to me. Because of the relation, right? I don't think it's weird for her to say, hey, let's legally tie our names together so we can maintain this generational wealth. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I don't know if she has any kids. I don't know anything about this woman's story. I'm not looking at blogs or anything like that. I'm waiting to get the story from Bravo. That's how I like to watch it. I really don't like to look at the blogs or anything like that to know what's going on outside of the show. I like to see what's going on in the show. That's why I don't like Monique, David, all of these people doing all of these damage control before the edited version of how they behaved in the last 6 months to a year is presented to us. I think that to me is corny. Let the show play out. Let the show play out and explain yourself at the reunion. All these explanations leading up to that takes us away from, I know for some people they probably like it because it kind of gives you an insight, when Candy is doing those after shows, you get a little bit more. But then what happens at the reunion? What do we talk about at the reunion if y'all have done an after show for every single episode or a recap of every single episode? You can't tell what's going to happen. So you giving a recap just like we giving a recap. I don't understand it. Some people like it. Do y'all like it? Do y'all like when they do give a little bit of extra story to hold you over to the next episode? Like Monique, she's doing all her, to me, Monique, your damage control tour is not looking well. It's not looking well. I think what would be better is if Monique came out and said, look, this is what it was. This is how I felt. If she's honest about using Candace as a scapegoat for her anger towards Charisse and her husband, I think that will go over well with the viewing audience. A lot of people in the comments the other day were just saying how much they really are looking at the character that Monique is demonstrating for us differently now. A lot of us had clocked Monique when she came on the show, the performance of I'm not like these women, I'm not messy like these women. And now you're in this mess with Charisse and Giselle and all of these women of Potomac. And now you're on this damage control tour. And it's not looking great. The way that they're editing this, honey, you look a mess. It's not going over well. Who else? What other franchise? Salt Lake City. Who else? Orange County, New Jersey, New York. I didn't watch Dallas at all. Wasn't interested. What else? Oh, who else on Salt Lake City that I thought was interesting? I'm glad they have a Mormon girl up there. I was watching this little short documentary on this family in Utah called The Order. And this man has 150 children. And then they marry in that family, they do marry each other. The girl was I married my father's brother or some crazy like that's going on in Utah. And they showed the family portrait or family picture. It looked like a whole town and all those people are related. And it showed this one boy trying to get out. He was I don't want to be involved with this. His mother died. He said his father never helped his mother. And that's the thing. I think when we talk about polygamy and stuff like that, I think the boy was his mother had 14 children. His father did not help at all, did not help the family. His father was absent. Then he said his mother died. His mother got sick. The order didn't want her to go to a hospital. This is happening in the United States, in Utah. The mother did not want to go to the hospital. I mean, the mother wanted to go to the hospital. The order, the family, the people, the men that were in charge, they didn't want her to go. They started giving her teas and stuff like that. She had colon cancer. Okay. They started giving her teas. Okay. And, she ended up dying. And when she died, they told him all of this stuff we're getting rid of, all her stuff we're getting rid of, or we're selling. Pick something out of here that you want from your mother. And he had like this little silver bell that she used to ring when she was not feeling well and she needed help. And then his father told him either you're going to stay here or you need to leave and figure out your life or whatever. And he left. And then he said his father wanted him to come back. I guess they needed help or whatever. And he was like, he's not coming back. They went to court. They're trying to sue, trying to go to court and stuff like that. And it's like he's been ostracized. Once you leave the order, you can't speak to anybody. And if you come from a family where you have 150 siblings and now you're cut off, that's pretty hard on a person, I imagine. But yeah, it's on YouTube. I don't even remember what it's called, but yeah, the man, and it's crazy because then the woman, so the boy, he leaves the order, he leaves his family, and then he goes with another family member who has also left. She left. She said that she left. She has 9 kids. She's the one who married her father's brother. She has 9 children. She left the order. She has a new husband now, but she left after they want you to have a baby every year. They want you to have a baby every year. And one year she had a miscarriage, but the baby could not pass, and they too were trying to give her teas and stuff. She started to get really, really sick, and they finally let her go to the hospital. And she said after that, she said, oh, I gotta leave. I can't be around this family anymore. I gotta go. So that is what's going on in Utah. So this Salt Lake City Real Housewives and this Mormon coming from, they're going to have a Mormon girl. They're going to have the girl converting to Islam. And then they're going to have this black woman who's married her grandfather, her step-grandfather. And so I think it's going to be interesting. But yeah, with the polygamy thing, like I think what a lot of people get to, the way that they were describing it was basically the women were just there to multiply. That's it. You're going to have a baby every year. We're going to make a community. We're going to make a tribe, and you're going to have a baby every year. This woman has 9 kids, and I don't believe she was over 30 years old. They married her when she was 16. They married her when she was 16, and yeah, I don't think she was over 30 years old, and she already has 9 children. And this is happening in Utah, in the United States. Stuff like this happens. And it says, and then they were saying that in Utah, they used to have laws that supported polygamy. They now have laws against it, but they don't criminalize it. Like, okay, well, you're going to do it. We're not going to put you in jail. You're not going to criminalize the behavior, which is really strange. But they're really trying to save these girls and boys because they start them off very, very young, and marrying them, sending them to other states, which comes in with the trafficking to marry other men. It's really, really interesting. What else? So go watch that. I don't know how I started talking about that. I guess the Salt Lake City thing, but yeah. And then the cult thing. That's the reason why I got it. Cause I was watching all of these things on Nexium. And Nexium is really good. It's very interesting. I was watching it thinking to myself how I would be a candidate for a course like that. Like, oh, here's this self-help course, right? That's going to help you, become the best version of yourself. But then you start these weird rituals that you have within your group, and it's a very slow, and what I really like the way that they're producing, whoever created, I think the guy Mark Vincente, I think he was in Nexium, and he's the one who is actually helping with this this documentary. But you can tell how they're slowly trying to kind of groom you as the viewer into this mess of this organization. The little rituals that they have, the wearing of the scarves, the clapping of the hands before, like, you start anything. just small little rituals that make you feel like you belong to a group. And I, since I like to watch stuff like that all the time, I read about how cults and religious groups and Greek organizations and any kind of clubs that you will belong to, it actually releases, when you are around that group, it actually releases the same chemicals that are released when an addict sees the drug of their choice. The same chemicals in the brain are released, and it's considered a behavioral addiction. And that's what happens when you see people going to church 3 or 4 times a week. They're getting that chemical released when they're around their people. And that's why it's so hard for people to break out of cults. And when I say cults, I'm talking about, like I said, Greek organizations, religious groups, clubs, secret, or whatever you want to call them, secret societies, churches, whatever, when you coming in a group and you guys are doing things, these self-help groups, your communities within if you are now like, okay, this is our rituals, and you start getting rituals and things like that together, sayings, greetings, handshakes, all of that stuff makes another person release chemicals, the same like addictive behaviors start happening. And that's why it's hard to get people out of cults. I remember my grandmother telling me that she knew a woman who was supposed to go away with Jim Jones. Like, they got involved. A lot of people got involved. What was it called? The People's Church got involved with Jim Jones. And what's so interesting to me is these people who are head of these cults, it's so fascinating to me how they just look like regular people, but they have this charisma. And a lot of the times these people are really smart. And they have this charisma about them that attracts people to them. And I think it's so interesting how they could take, and it's like, that you have this gift, right? And you don't use it for good. You start using it for self. You start using it to get, they said the guy in Nexium, Keith Raniere, he had 15 women, and none of the women knew who the other woman was, but they had an understanding with him that I'm going to make a vow to you. I'm going to be forever. You're my master. Basically, they called themselves masters and slaves. And even this one girl was like, I was introduced to this group by a black woman. So when she told me that we refer to ourselves as masters and slaves, I was looking at her like, lady, you black. Are you okay with this? Bitch, are you okay with this? Because y'all calling each other masters and slaves, which was weird, and they had a name for him. The whole thing was crazy, but it's very, very interesting to me, which I enjoy watching stuff like that, because I like to see, like, this guy, Keith Raniere, he looked like he was about 5'5", maybe 5'6". He was not an ugly man, a nice looking man. They talk about, I was watching a report on him that says he's in the Guinness Book of World Records. So it's documented that he has a high IQ. So that kind of was kind of his evidence, like, I'm really a smart person, I'm in the Guinness Books of World Records. So that kind of gives him validity with people, and they pretend, and he was just using it for the wrong. I'm not finished watching. We're on episode 4, but it's really, really interesting. So I've just been on YouTube watching different stories about the women getting involved, and these actresses, Allison Mack, they kept calling her Allie Mack, but the women were getting branded. And so people get branded in Greek organizations all the time, and everybody thinks, well, not everybody, but a lot of people think that's like, oh, it's regular. You're being branded, and it's just regular. This is what we do. This is our tradition. This is what we do. And so in this group, they're doing the same thing. However, it's this man's initials, child. It's this man's initials, and they made it look like, to say that it's to honor the elements. And this is the ocean, And these are the mountains, and this is the sky, baby. And it was his initials. If you turned it around, it was his initials and Allison Mack's initials as well within the thing, because she was kind of like his bottom bitch, I guess. She was doing a lot of the recruiting. And they haven't got to the part where they're like actually talking about how they are having sex with him yet. They're getting to like, they were grooming the women. The one woman who kind of, she left, I can't remember her name. So Edmondson is her last name. She left the cult, and she had already been branded. But she never had sex with him, is what she's saying. And she says, she doesn't think that she was there to have sex with him, but more as a recruiting tool to recruit other women. Also, the women were on a strict diet. They had to maintain their calories. And then before they ate, they had to ask their master, via text message, can I eat this? It's however many calories. And they would let them know, yeah, you can eat it, or no, you can't. You had like this rigorous schedule that you had to follow. And a lot of the women were like, I felt like I kind of had an accountability coach. But yeah, I thought it was like, I'm like, the concept and the model is great, but you guys are not, the guys are using it totally wrong. Like I was thinking to myself, yeah, you guys really got the shit down. You got a model down. You got, rules down, rituals, everything to make a person feel like I have an accountability partner and I can, maintain and reach my personal goals. It's a great concept, but you guys are just using it for bad and using it to control people. And I was also reading that, in the grooming process to get you, in the cult, all of those things start happening where it just becomes ritual. Now you're asking somebody if you can eat and how many calories can you eat. And she's like, the women are all really, really skinny. Even the woman was like it was funny because this woman was like, this black woman really was the one who brought her in. And it was funny because the way she brought her in was she was doing a story on urban farmers. And she was doing a story on this woman, black woman who was a farmer in the city. And that's how she got hooked in, because the woman was like, oh, do you want me to, tell you how I've done this, how I've acquired this success, how I've been successful and my personal goals and da-da-da-da. Baby, wrapped her in. And it's just like that, easy to be warped into something. And people so want to belong to something that it's easy for some people. Those personality types that need to belong to something can get wrapped up in a cult real easy, right? Because then you have so many people that have left, right? When they realize this shit is weird. Like, what are y'all doing? You're telling women they can't eat. They have to eat a certain amount of food, or they can't do this, and then trying to get them to move to Albany to be around him. He doesn't have a car. He has given away all of his possessions, so he gets driven around. Yeah, it's crazy. You guys should watch it. It's on HBO Max, but you can watch little clips about it on YouTube. Just look up Nexium. Of course, there's its own Wikipedia page. It is really, really, really interesting. Speaking of community, I did want to talk about the 19 black families that purchased 90 acres of land in Georgia. Wilkinson County, Georgia, which is, the woman said, was east of Macon. I went and looked at it on the map. It is south of Atlanta. For you to have a perspective, you can visualize the map. It's south of Atlanta. They bought 90 acres. Every now and again, when I'm like looking online, looking at houses, I notice that there's towns that are for sale, like little small in the middle of nowhere towns where you have, like, originally they thought the town was for sale. The town had like a diner, a gas station, had all of these things that you need, of course, to run a town. But it turns out it wasn't for sale. So since it wasn't for sale, they were still looking in the area. And when they were looking in the area, they found about 90 acres of land. They wanted to build a safe space for black people. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know why I wrote 1.7 million. That might have been the land purchase, but for 90 acres, that's nothing. And then it was Ashley Scott and Renee Walters, who are the women who started the Freedom Georgia Initiative. And they want to create a safe space for Black people. They said because our families are integrated, it's not exclusive. This is not a town exclusively for Black people, but it will be pro-Black. And I think that was so important to say, because naturally you can't because yes, our families are integrated. Everybody is not married to a Black person. So you are going to have integrated families, but rest assured, this ain't going to be like the rest of the United States. This town is going to be pro-Black. So don't bring none of this the way that United States has raised you. This is not going to be how this town is, which I appreciated that. Over Labor Day weekend, they had a camp out. They are going to be making sure they're doing farming. They have a lake. They're going to build commercial property. They want a fully operational city, Wilkinson County, Georgia, east of Macon. I think it's a great idea. I've always I'm like that. Like I said, like with the Nexium thing, I'm someone to be like, this is a great idea. Like where there's community and where people are agreeing and have the same the same value system, the same morals, the same goals, where you have a group of people. It's enticing to be like, here are a group of people who think like me, right? It's enticing, and sometimes it can be dangerous if the person takes it the wrong way. But in this town, I think it's great to have a town where it's just Black people thriving and building and all these things. We've done it before. It's been done over and over again throughout history. After slavery, people have moved to different towns, created small towns. Of course, about Black Wall Street. That was in the 20s. You have all of these examples of it being done before, so it can be done, and I think it's absolutely wonderful. I think that having a community of like-minded people, I should say, I think it's important. I do think it's important. I think it's important for Black people, and I think more Black people should buy land and build. Because so you buy land and build, and then you figure out where are the strengths. Like, go watch, if you haven't watched, Old Country, which is another type of religious cult that happened with Osho. You know who he is. You could call him, I guess, I don't know if not a spiritual leader, a guru for a lot of people. And they came to, Washington, Oregon. Where did they go? Where did they move? In a big country. Was that what it's called? Hold on. They moved to Oregon. They created a city, a town. They had an airport. They had lakes. They had banks. They had everything, honey. And those white people did not want this. Those people, where these brown people coming in. Then they brought in then they had ended up bringing in like people who were homeless people who did not have homes, bringing them in the community so that they can work, and everybody had a job. Everybody was working. They had farms and everything. But the white people in the community did not want those people there, honey. They started poisoning the water supply. That shit was crazy. It was crazy. But go watch Wild Country. What do I call it? Big Country. Wild Country on Netflix. It was really, really good. It's a series as well. Same concept. Some person being a leader. Then I don't know if he was having sex with the women. Probably, I think a lot of people, and then another thing that happened, which happened with Nexium, you get a few people who are in the entertainment industry to go along with this. Like even the Dalai Lama met with Keith Raniere from Nexium. So that gave him another, oh yeah, he's legit. He's meeting with the Dalai Lama. You understand what I'm saying? And these people not using their gift for good. That's so important. Like, so many people have gifts, and I know a lot of people like to say, you know, certain people are anointed or whatever. I really feel like all of us are anointed, just some people just don't know how to access their universally given gifts, is what I believe. And I think that people who run churches and cults and things like that, they have gifts that they're just not using, you know, for good. You know, they're using them for, it's for self-serving. And I think a lot of them start out like in a good direction, like wanting to do good, but then some people just don't know how to handle being powerful. They really don't. I mean, look at your president. Look at your damn president. Yeah, and Osho was very interesting. So if you follow any of his teachings or anything like that, it was very interesting to watch how that really became a cult too. Honey, the people wore all the same colors. They wore the same kind of clothes, all the same, what do you say, spectrum of colors. I think it was like burgundy and, what colors did they wear? They wore burgundy and like a light pink colors, and they wore the same thing. Everybody wore the same thing. You have to know that you're involved in a cult, and everybody's dressing the same. You guys are getting branded. Like, this is crazy. Anyways, so I guess we talked about, I don't know what we talked about today. I'm done talking. I have a meeting to go to, so I want to get home and have my coffee and sit down and get myself prepared for this meeting. It was nice talking to you guys. Go watch the Nexium. It's called The Vow on HBO Max, and then Wild Wild Country on Netflix, both about cults. And then there's another story on Amazon Prime. Let me see. I'm going to tell you. I think it's called Cult. And it talks about the psychological effects that happen and the chemical reaction that happen when people are in cults or churches and things like that, how it's like they're addicted. It's a behavioral addiction is what I have been reading up on. And like I said, do you know, I'm sure you know people who go to church on Sundays, Tuesdays, Thursdays. They're involved so much that becomes a part of their life, and it feels good to them. It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling to be in churches and stuff around people who like, you know, singing and stuff like that, and meeting people. It is a good feeling, and that's why a lot of people, they keep going to a particular church. They may not like everything about the church, right? May not like everything, but they like, you know, going and socializing. We're relational people. We like to relate to other people, which is perfectly normal. It's just getting involved in these things. Like I said earlier, to me, I feel like, oh, this is a great program. Nexium has a great program, but I would be the type of person to be like, bitch, I am not branding myself for who, for what, and what is this? What does this mean? And I ask too many questions. I ask too many questions. While I find it utterly fascinating that people can get involved in cults, I'm too much of a... First of all, you guys are listening to one person. How are you listening to one person? This person is supposed to be telling you what to do. Why are you listening to the person? Why are you... I ask too many questions to get wrapped up in a cult. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's utterly fascinating. I think serial killers are utterly fascinating as well. The brain. I know some of you guys are going to ask me, do I watch, what is it, Mindhunter? No, I don't. Everybody tells me I should watch it. I like to watch the real thing. I don't like to watch shows about it. Like, I can watch Big Country and I can watch The Vow because these are real people talking about it. I don't like to see reenactments of things, which is weird. That's why I can't really get into it, because they're actors. This is not a real person. This is someone acting like a serial killer. This is not the real person. I want to hear what the real serial killer has to say. That's just who I am. That's what I want to know. Like, I have questions. Okay, what does this symbol mean? Okay, now I could see if it was like, okay, we all getting tattoos. No, you're about to brand me? No, I can see tattoos, and I need to know what this means. What does this tattoo mean? Okay, we're all a group. We're all gonna go get matching tattoos. I could see me saying, let's do that, but I need to see, what does this mean? This looks a little bit like Keith's initials. Are y'all okay with this? That would be me. That'd be like, get this bitch out of here. You ask too many questions, or make her a leader. But no. But yeah, that is why I love watching serial killer. I was trying to find the one on Amazon Prime it talked about the actual chemical reaction that people have in groups, but I'll find it and I'll post it to the community page. I think it's called Cult or something like that. Let's see. I can see if I could see the movie poster for it. Oh, The Source Family was another one on Amazon Prime. That was really good. Anything where it's talking like about communes, and that's why I thought it was perfect to talk about those families that are building that town down there. You just never know, because in that town is everybody going to, because everybody might be black, but everybody don't practice the same religion. Everybody don't practice the same shit like that. So are y'all gonna have problems down in this town like that? That's the only thing that I think about. Like, do you want everybody to have the same mindset, or just, okay, we're just down here owning property? You know what I'm saying? So I thought it was interesting. I'd like to see the development. I heard that somebody said that they want to do a reality show about them. I think keep them people out of y'all business. Keep them people. You guys can film it, and I'm sure there is somebody in those 19 families has access to somebody who can create a film and film a documentary. And you guys film the documentary on the creation of this town, the development of this town. Somebody should be documenting this on film so that they can do a documentary. Do not let no white people, no white media in there. Do not do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just don't do it. I just don't do it. That's just how I feel about it. Anyways, y'all, I'm out of here. I'm 10 minutes over my time. Take care of each other. Protect your energy. Good talk. Good talk. It's a little different today, I guess. I really want to talk about those 19 families. I don't know how I got on the cults and shit. Maybe because I said I wasn't really watching anything else. Anyways, all right, you guys, take care of each other. Protect your energy. Peace.